This is where all of my money goes. Every time a bill comes, I just hate owning a home because who needs to pay $250 for fucking electric?
Is being house poor worth it? Is owning a house but not being able to do anything, not being able to afford to go out and experience more life and like make memories worth it? I see so many people on this app that are like, oh, well, I enjoy my mortgage and stuff like that. But do you? Like, you get one life. That's it. We all know that, okay? And to be stuck at home for maybe even, just say the next 10 years, doing really nothing, watching Netflix and rotting away, is it really worth it? Because you felt the need, because society tells you that, like, if you don't own a house at some point, you're failing in life. You felt the need to follow those footsteps, and now you're stuck at home. I just feel like that's not worth it anymore. Yes, back in the day, you could own a house, you could go on trips, you could have this whole family thing, all this. But y'all that are trying to flex on others saying, oh, well, I own a house. You don't. Yeah, but at least they have the money to rent and leave the house and go and do things. I'm not saying you have to go party every weekend or anything like that, but at least they can go out and see their family, fly somewhere, take vacations.
A home in today's world actually sucks. We were told that it would make us financially free, but why do I feel broke as ever? My AC unit went out last week. Replacing a unit could cost you up to $20,000. With my luck, I just had to replace mine, but thank goodness for my friend's portable AC unit and ceiling fan. To save money, I tried to do some DIY projects on my own, and even that starts to add up. Also, homes aren't built the same anymore. The upgrades are cheap, and nothing is made to last. Take this room for instance. I can't even reach the light to replace the bulb, and over time, homes just crack, and these cracks are so far up, I can't fill it or paint the room. So I have to hire it out, and I just feel like I'm constantly paying bills after bills, and I can't save any money. In the first 2 years of owning this place, I had to replace the stove and the fridge. My kitchen floor is lifting, and so is the ones in my bathroom. I rented out while I was living in other cities, and even then I was just paying so much money for someone to manage it. Now I have to cough up more money to pay for all of the wear and tear that just happened when it was rented out. Long story short, if you feel bad that you don't own a home, don't. Owning a home isn't the reality our parents told us. The cost of living is through the roof. We're paying more for less, and of course our paychecks remain the same. Anyone else feeling this way, and what are you guys doing to save money these days?
The big moment, you have the down payment, correct? Oh, yeah, all of it. Here you go, all 40,000. Great, seems to be in order. And you also have the closing costs, correct? I thought that was in the down payment. What's closing costs? Yes, the closing costs. That's the additional $12,000. What? The additional 12,000. There's 40. You have $40,000. I thought that was the closing costs. Well, okay, so I do see that you have your earnest money, your good faith money, so that was the $5,000. Then we also see the appraisal that you paid for and the inspection that you paid for. But on top of that, we also have the application fee, the title search fee, we have the recording fee, then we have the underwriting fee and the commissions, then the fee. Also see that you're only putting 10% down. With a conventional loan, we actually require 20%, but it's okay that you're putting 10% down. But because of that, we have to get mortgage insurance on top of your home insurance, even though it is $40,000 for your $400,000 home. We do require that we have the mortgage insurance as well. Right, and I'm sorry, just to make sure I'm understanding, even if I did do the 20% down, I would still have these $12,000 costs. It would be minus $100 for the mortgage insurance, but yes, around like the $12,000 cost, yeah. Okay. Oh no, everyone, when were you gonna tell me about this? When were you gonna mention $12,000? It is actually lined out in your loan estimate. You did sign that. Yes, indeed, I did sign that, but I thought that that was like all-encompassing $40,000, not an additional $12,000 when I'm, okay. Right, exactly. So do you have the $12,000, correct? I have the $12,000, correct? No! Oh, okay, so I take it we are not clear to close today. The fuck do you think?
So you bought the house. You did the thing. You posted the keys, took a photo in front of the sold sign, and now you can't afford to turn on the heat. You are eating instant noodles in a $900,000 kitchen, and suddenly, home sweet home feels more like mortgage misery lane. Today, we are diving into the reality of being house poor, and trust me, it's not the dream you think it is. I'm reacting to real videos of people who thought buying a house would be the best thing ever until they realized they bought themselves a full-time job with no salary. Let's talk about what nobody told them: the hidden costs, the regrets, the silent suffering behind granite countertops. So grab a snack, preferably one you didn't have to finance, and let's go. Look at that joy. That's before the first roof leak, the $8,000 furnace replacement, and the surprise property tax jump. Oh, the bliss of ignorance.
I think this might actually be kind of a hot take, but buying a house was one of the worst things I've ever done. Obviously, everyone wants different things. Every market is different. Everyone's personal financial situation is different. Blah, 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 blah. Basically, we live just outside of Austin, and we bought a house, and houses here are just very expensive. So like we couldn't really get a cheap house. So our house is a little pricey. And we bought about 2 years ago, and we did a new build, so we didn't have to put a lot of money down, which was great. But anyway, when we like signed the contract to buy the house, it was still being built. By the time we closed, interest rates had gone up by like almost a full percentage point. And we also locked in when house prices were the highest. So basically we bought it like the worst time possible in, you know, the past few years. But then like 2 months of living in that house, I realized that I did not want to live there. It's way too far from all of our favorite stuff. It's way too expensive. It's too much space, honestly. Like I don't like having to care for that much space. And I don't like feeling locked down. Like I don't like feeling like we can't just like pick up and move when our lease is up or something. It took my husband longer to realize he felt the same way. But he also feels the same way. We decided that we would try to sell our house because we were like, we're just not happy here. Like this wasn't the best decision for us. Like, let's just go. And we listed it like a year and a half, tried to list it at a price where we would at least break even. And obviously we haven't sold yet. It's been a year and a half. At this point, we are taking a huge loss on the house and taking out a personal loan to cover it, which I know sounds crazy, but our rent will be so drastically cheaper that even with a personal loan payment each month, we are each still saving like $1,000 a month once we move to an apartment.
I am selling my house and I'm getting ready to move back with my parents yet again. I am single. I do have a 9-to-5 job where it does not pay me nearly enough to cover the bills. And I've had this house for about 3 years now, and I am just exhausted. I am drowning, barely surviving, not being able to make repairs because the house is now falling apart, and I have no money in my savings to fix it. I have been saving for the past 3 years. All I've been doing is working and going straight home. I don't go out. I don't spend money on like coffee or anything. I try to save as much money as possible so I could get some money to make repairs for this house to make it nice and comfortable and livable. But I am at my wit's end now, and I'm just tired. I honestly want to leave my job, my 9-to-5 job that's not paying me well enough to even cover the bills. I'm exhausted. I want to leave, but then I'm stuck with this house, and I just don't want any of it anymore. So I'm selling it.
I bought a house when I was 26 and fell immediately into poverty. Okay, when I lived with my parents, I was living my best luxury lifestyle. I went to South Korea, bought a 2000 plane ticket, didn't even blink twice. I went shopping, luxury goods, all that. Was traveling, was just, I was living it up. I felt rich. I had no bills. And I had a full-time 9-to-5 job. I was working as a nurse, okay? I was killing it. I bought my own house. That first mortgage payment came in, and I was like, oh, this is a situation. But at first you think you can handle it, right? Like, what's a couple thou? What's a couple thou? I got it. But then the pipes in my 80-year-old home broke immediately as soon as I bought the house. Wiped out my savings. Then another pipe in a different area of the house broke. Okay, I'm struggling. Okay, I need help. Then my neighbor's pipe, it was a twin house, her pipe broke. And she didn't believe that her pipe broke, but her pipe broke on my side of the house. So all of that water that was coming down was spraying into my home. And then my water heater broke. When I tell y'all, I went from living in the lap of luxury to destitute immediately. Now, don't get me to fooling y'all, because it was worth it in the long run, because that house is now worth like 2 times what it was worth then. So I'm actually doing pretty good. But at the time, when I tell you I was struggling, I had to go to my parents every other day for dinner because, Your girl could not feed herself.
This is real. So many people think they are escaping rent slavery only to become mortgage prisoners. You are not just paying the mortgage, you are paying repairs, utilities that double, home insurance, property taxes, maintenance, because somehow everything breaks the minute you move in. Buying a home sounds like you are investing in your future, and you are. But sometimes that future comes with a monthly dose of panic, random repairs, and second guessing every life choice since birth. That open concept living space now feels like an open wound in your bank account.
A lot of people cannot make progress financially because they are house poor and they probably don't even know it. Being house poor is when you own a home that you cannot afford. What does that look like? When you have a payment that is a very big percentage of what you make monthly and all you can afford basically is to pay the mortgage. By the time you cover all your house expenses, you are basically left with nothing. I think it's important to talk about this because people are under the impression that as long as you own a home, you're winning. And that is not the case. If you are owning a home stressed out because by the end of the month, you have nothing left, you cannot afford that. That is what we call you bought too much house. With your monthly income, you should be able to pay your mortgage, set money aside, invest, basically still have a life, right? And not feel like you're drowning and not feel like you can't breathe. The biggest, smartest way to do this is waiting to buy a house when you are ready. Not when the pressure is, when are you going to buy a house? When are you going to buy a house? Oh, everyone buys a house when they get married. Why aren't you? No, you need to buy a house when you're ready. Doing this when you're ready looks like this. You should be debt free. You should have an emergency fund and you should aim to have a really good down payment. 5, 10, 15, 20% down. And that will give you margin. That will give you breathing room. That will make sure you are doing this the right way. So don't let anyone pressure you into this. Buying a house is the biggest expense you're ever going to make, at least for most of us. Make sure you're doing this the right way.
See, here's the unpopular opinion. Renting isn't throwing away money. Sometimes renting is buying yourself freedom, peace of mind, and flexibility. You know what homeowners don't have? A landlord to call when the water heater dies, the option to leave when the neighborhood gets sketchy or the job relocates, a predictable budget. Instead, they get a $500 plumber bill at 2 a.m. and a sinking feeling every time a strange noise comes from the basement. Let's break it down. House poor means you have a house, but you can't afford to enjoy your life. You skip vacations, you cut back on groceries, you decline dinner invites, all because your house became your entire identity and now your biggest liability. Yes, people are literally living in empty homes because they can't afford a couch anymore. It's like buying a mansion and camping inside it. At this point, you are not living the dream. You are surviving the mortgage.
Never let the mortgage and the cost of maintaining the house be more than 1/3 of your income. 1/3 of your income. If it's more than 1/3, you bought too much house. So it's better to buy a house that's maybe it's only going to be 1,900 square feet to start in a neighborhood that you may not want to stay in for the rest of your life, but start to accrue the benefit of real estate from that point of view. Learn how to manage it. Maybe you rent part of it out or whatever, but it can't be more than 1/3 of your income. The mistake that people made, and they're starting to suffer from it now, is when money was so cheap, mortgage rates were under 4%. They were 3.2%, some of them. They bought massive houses. And now they're running into having to refinance those houses at much higher rates, more than 7%. And it's becoming 60, 70, 80% of their income. They're screwed. They bought too much house. So it's about making sure that you can manage that. And also you want some diversification. Yes, a mortgage is okay, particularly if you're having a family.
Look, home ownership isn't bad. It can be amazing if you are prepared. But don't let society pressure you into buying just to grow up. Don't buy because your friend bought. Buy because you can afford it. you understand the total cost, you are ready for the responsibility. Otherwise, rent in peace, stack your coins, and wait until the time is actually right. So, what do you think? Have you experienced house poor regrets? Or are you thinking about buying and now you are rethinking everything? Comment below with your story or your biggest fear about owning a home. Smash that like button if you found this real, relatable, and ridiculously accurate. Don't forget to subscribe for more brutally honest breakdowns on modern life. Because this is the channel where we say what everyone is too broke to admit. So YouTube thinks you like this video over here. See you in the next one, hopefully somewhere with working plumbing. Over.